Members, good afternoon. Welcome to today's meeting. This is the appointed time. We have a quorum. So I call this meeting to order. Item 1, information paper issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat has not issued any information paper since the last meeting. Next item. Items for discussion at the next meeting. The regular meeting of the panel is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. the 21st of April. The administration has proposed to discuss 2 items. 1. Latest development of the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park. And 2. Establishing in Hong Kong the first national manufacturing innovation center outside the Chinese mainland. Any views? Right, so be it. These will be discussed at the next meeting. Third item, promotion of inward investment and staffing proposal of Invest Hong Kong. Let's invite the administration to come in. This is an establishment proposal. All members of this council have been invited to take part in the discussion. Let me welcome Secretary and his team to our meeting. The administration has provided us with the paper and the background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat has been uploaded to the website. So, Secretary, could you please walk us through the paper when you are seated and ready? Over to you. Chairman, members, let me brief members on the work of Invest Hong Kong last year as well as the work plan this year. In 2025, the Invest Hong Kong assisted altogether 500 mainland or overseas offices in expanding business in Hong Kong, and that's a record high. The direct investment that will be brought in through these companies reached $69.4 billion. Altogether, these enterprises will create 10,700 jobs. According to the latest statistics, in 2025, there were 11,070 Hong Kong-based companies from the Chinese mainland and overseas which set a presence in Hong Kong. There were also over 5,200 startups in Hong Kong, also a new record. Over the past year, Invest Hong Kong proactively carried out investment promotion activities across different sectors to promote the advantages of Hong Kong and Hong Kong's position as a premier platform for mainland enterprises to go global, as well as the development of the northern metropolis and the opportunities enjoyed by family offices here. We also help tap Belt and Road markets and other emerging markets so as to attract more direct investment. In light of external uncertainties and the global economic landscape, Invest Hong Kong must deploy more resources and take a more focused approach in promoting the investment in Hong Kong. Now, to implement the policy, the initiatives set out in the 2025 policy address, we propose to establish a new post, and that is the ADGIP, that is time-limited non-civil service position to assist the Director General in the investment promotion work. To enhance support for mainland enterprises in going global, in October last year, I set up the task force on supporting mainland enterprises to go global, and that's Go Global Task Force. We also provide a comprehensive, customized service and tailor-made service for them to tap overseas markets. Work plan has been drawn up by the task force. There will be a clear focus on attracting enterprises of strategic value and potential, and that there will also be thematic promotion activities. There will be business missions for mainland enterprises to understand the environment of different markets so as to facilitate the expansion of business. The Invest Hong Kong plays a pivotal role in the process. For example, Invest Hong Kong coordinates the Go Global Task Force and mainland enterprises in these promotion activities. The steering committee will be supported by the Invest Hong Kong as well. There will also be enhanced collaboration with the CDB and the mainland enterprises. And to draw up preferential policy packages, the Financial Secretary has set up the steering committee on preferential policies for attracting industries and investment. A preliminary framework will be drawn up with preferential policy packages to expedite the efforts of attracting enterprises in Senegal presence in the northern metropolis. Invest Hong Kong will support the work of this steering committee. There will be research conducted on the potential clients as well as their contribution to our economy and the industrial development. We will be the relationship manager so as to help the business negotiation process. Invest Hong Kong will further expand the scope of work in 2026-27. Our goal is to attract altogether 1,200 enterprises. That's on average 600 enterprises per year to come to Hong Kong, which will bring in direct investment to a tune of $120 billion and 12,000 jobs, so as to meet the key performance indicators set out in the Policy Address 2025. There are 3 existing Assistant Director Generals, and they have a lot on their plate. We propose setting up this time-limited non-civil service position so as to assist the work of DG for a period of 3 years to help mainland enterprises go global and to draw up preferential policy packages. We will conduct open recruitment to field the most suitable candidates. I'd like members to note the work report of Invest Hong Kong, and I urge members to support this establishment proposal. Subject to members' support, we will submit the staffing proposal to the Establishment Subcommittee for consideration. We will also seek approval from the Finance Committee. The colleagues from my bureau and Invest Hong Kong will join me in listening to the views of members, and we'll be happy to take questions. Right, the floor is open. Members, if you want to ask questions, please press the request to speak button. 13 members have indicated their wish to speak. Let me read out their names: Duncan Chiu, Thomas So, Sunny Tan, William Wong, Andrew Yao, Chulap Wai, Kenneth Fogg, Hong Kam In, Priscilla Leung, Alan Chan, Peter Shou, Jonathan Lampert, and Hui Li. I'll give each member 3 minutes question and answer, please. Right, I need to declare that I'm president of the Hong Kong IT Federation. In the past 2 years, we have chipped in the government's efforts in helping enterprises go global. We've also organized exhibitions and summits. We collaborated with Oasis as well as Invest Hong Kong, so I need to declare my interest. Now, this is the major trend for enterprises to go global. In the field of I&T, Hong Kong serves as a premium platform for mainland enterprises to go global, and we have a lot of potential. I fully support this staffing proposal. In fact, last month I went to Indonesia. I went on a business mission, and next month I'll be leading another mission to Vietnam. The members of the mission comprise tech firms from the mainland. There is a strong demand. Now, in terms of the 15th five-year plan, I'm sure that there will be discussions on specific areas of I&T, including discussions within the government and with the Legislative Council. So I understand that this candidate will need to possess sufficient and relevant experience in business negotiations, but at the same time, I think that this candidate should have I&T expertise as well, so as to gauge the level of technology developed by these enterprises. So I think it's important that this candidate possesses the relevant IT expertise and experience. Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chiu, for the question. In terms of recruitment, the SAR government will actively align with the 15th five-year plan, and the SAR government will drop its own five-year plan as well. In terms of attracting businesses and investment and helping mainland enterprises go global, we need to consider a very important aspect, and that's innovation technology. For the Go Global Task Force, it collaborates with the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office as well as the Ministry of Commerce. Under this established mechanism, we invite specific mainland enterprises to go global, and we have ongoing liaison with different provinces and cities. Invest Hong Kong also mounts publicity in these provinces and cities. It is very important that we consider innovation and technology. And as such, in recruiting the proposed post holder, we will be very careful in considering the background. Mr. Thomas So. Thank you, Chairman. Secretary, I support the staffing proposal. I also hope that the most suitable candidate will be recruited, because according to the job description, this candidate should possess knowledge in helping enterprises go global, and he should have local connection, etc. Now, my question is on preferential policy packages. The government will draw up preferential policies to attract enterprises to come to Hong Kong. After they've set up presence here, and after they've enjoyed what we offer them, the government should also be able to assess the outcome. There should be some follow-up work. After we give them preferential treatment, we need to make sure that they bring benefits to Hong Kong as well. Now, in paragraph 15, as I understand, according to the KPI, this post holder should attract at least 1,200 enterprises to set up presence in Hong Kong. And in Annex 2, I see that Invest Hong Kong also actively attracts enterprises to set up presence in the northern metropolis. Now, this is a very crucial aspect in the 15th five-year plan. As for the data center in Sandy Ridge, only lukewarm response has been received. So my question is whether there are specific measures to ensure that the post holder can successfully attract enterprises to set presence in northern metropolis. Secretary. Right, to answer Mr. So's question on preferential policy packages, the Financial Secretary has set up a steering committee. Now, for interested enterprises, careful and in-depth studies will be conducted by various government departments. Recommendations will then be made to the steering committee for drawing up preferential policies for these enterprises. For example, there will be consideration on long-term benefits to the economic development in Hong Kong, as well as their input in the short to medium term. And then the Financial Secretary leading the steering committee will decide on the relevant preferential policies, including land grant or tax incentives. In relation to Invest Hong Kong's KPI, in the next 2 years, we want to attract at least 1,200 enterprises to come to Hong Kong and bring in $112 billion of direct investment. This is not the KPI applicable only to this new post holder, but to Invest Hong Kong in general. But of course, we also attach importance to, for example, what this post holder can do to contribute to meeting the KPIs. On Northern Metropolis, within the government, there are different units responsible, such as the Northern Metropolis Development Office, and also this new structure set up at the Loop. Invest Hong Kong will continue to work with the Development Bureau and also the ITI Bureau, so as to attract suitable enterprises to come.
Mr. Sunny Tan, I first declare that I am the chairman of the Hong Kong Productivity Council. The Productivity Council has been working with the administration on helping enterprises to go global. First of all, I support the staffing proposal. It will help Invest Hong Kong to carry out the promotional activities. I'd like to follow up on the question about preferential packages as well. It will attract enterprises with high potential as well as high value-added industries. If we go back to the National 15 5-year plan, our country did mention in the 5-year plan that there are new and emerging industries or future industries as well as traditional industries with edges, and we need to strike a balance between the two kinds of industries. I'd like to ask Invest Hong Kong how the preferential packages will be able to support the development of traditional industries in Hong Kong. There are many large-scale economic activities carried out by traditional industries in Hong Kong. There are many SMEs in traditional industries as well. If mainland enterprises choose Hong Kong to set up their regional headquarters here, and with the volatility in the US, I believe many companies or enterprises will pick Hong Kong to establish their regional headquarters here. I believe we need to develop some very good channels to facilitate the development of various industries. Secretary, we have come up with some preferential policy packages to bring in enterprises with strategic importance. We want to, by doing so, boost economic growth in Hong Kong. We will formulate our own 5-year plan for Hong Kong based on the National 15 5-year plan. We will proactively consider the suggestions made by the member just now. We won't rule out the possibility that if there are companies that would like to establish presence in Hong Kong, we will discuss this in our committee that study the preferential policy packages. Next, Professor William Wong. Thank you, Chairman. The administration proposes to create a time-limited non-civil service post, and it will not increase the establishment of the government. According to the paper, 26 non-directorate officer posts will be added, and that cover adding 2 civil servant staff to the head of the office. Will the 2 civil servants fall under the establishment? If that's the case, would that run counter to the proposal made in the budget to reduce the civil service establishment by 2%? Next question. In January, the Secretary mentioned that over 30 mainland and overseas enterprises would like to set up presence in the Northern Metropolis. However, the government hasn't yet made public details about the investment scale of these companies, as well as which industries these enterprises belong to. I want to know if you focus on large-scale multinational corporations for the development of the Northern Metropolis. As for small and medium-sized technology enterprises, will there be preferential policies or packages for them as well, so as to subsidize their rent, for example? I'll ask Invest Hong Kong to respond to the questions. Chairman, Invest Hong Kong will indeed create 2 CS posts, one is Commissioner for Trade, and second, it is an EO staff. To help enterprises to go global, we have to work with mainland enterprises as well as the relevant government bureaus and departments. And on top of that, we have to deal with a lot of paperwork. So we need 2 civil servant staff to assist us. For example, there are mainland enterprises that go global via Hong Kong, and we have to work with various partners such as the Productivity Council as well as the relevant government bureaus and departments. So we want to establish records and in order to trace the effectiveness of our work. Therefore, we propose to create 2 CS posts. As for the development of the Northern Metropolis, there are over 30 companies or enterprises that are interested in establishing presence in the Northern Metropolis. And we are following up on these cases. We want to develop INT in the North Metropolis as well as, for example, modern logistics in Hung Shui Kiu. We'd also like to develop warehouses, for example, for gold storage and trading. So we would like to bring in large-scale enterprises with strategic importance in order to create new job opportunities in Hong Kong. Next, Mr. Andrew Yao. Thank you, Chairman. The Global Task Force plays a very important role. I support the staffing proposal. According to the National 15th Five-Year Plan, we will focus on new and emerging or future industries. In the coming 5 years, our country will invest in 108 projects. These projects are tech-focused, and so we have to be familiar with the National 15th Five-Year Plan, and we shouldn't focus just on the 4 or 5 tech industries in Hong Kong. For enterprises that intend to go global, they'll need time to adapt. For many successful restaurants in mainland, when they come to Hong Kong, they may face challenges. So we have to be prepared for any potential failures. So in order to offer support to these enterprises, I hope the administration can help these mainland enterprises learn about the culture outside of the mainland. We have to enable them to understand what they need to do in order to go global. Last weekend, I was in Shanghai. I took part in the task force organized by the Shanghai municipal government. I participated in the meeting, and for example, in Dubai, there are 200,000 Chinese businessmen there, and they mobilized the forces there in Dubai to help the enterprises in the mainland. Also, they have come up with a white list as well as a black list. There are enterprises that engage in malpractices, and they are included in the blacklist. For those who engage in accounting services or financial services and perform well, they are put into the white list. Secretary, I thank the member for the questions. I agree. Mainland enterprises intend to go global, and we have to understand their capabilities as well as their plan. The TDC, as well as Invest Hong Kong and other agencies, have formed a platform. We offer one-stop support for enterprises. So mainland enterprises can learn about the situations in different economies. We should report this information to the TDC as well as Invest Hong Kong. So when we promote our services in the mainland, we can brief mainland enterprises about the situations in different economies. There is also a professional platform under the TDC that provides services for the mainland enterprises. We aim to disseminate information to the mainland enterprises. We will recruit new staff in the mainland offices under Invest Hong Kong in order to help mainland enterprises go global. One of the duties of these staff is to communicate with the chambers of commerce in the mainland to understand what kind of information they need and what they require in order to go global so that we can help us get prepared. So when the mainland enterprises are ready to go global via Hong Kong, they know how they can leverage the advantages in Hong Kong in order for them to, for example, make investments or set up production lines overseas. Mr. Chu Lap Wai, Chairman, I'd like to commend the efforts made by Invest Hong Kong over the past year. According to the statistics here, I believe that they have exceeded their target. They have brought in many direct investments as well as job opportunities to Hong Kong. So I support the staffing proposal because with this proposal, we'll be able to dovetail with the National 15th Five-Year Plan very quickly. I have a couple of questions. The administration proposes creating a time-limited post as well as 26 other directorate officer posts, and it will involve some $20 million per year in terms of expenditure. Will there be any targets for the administration for the next 3 years? That is, how many successful investments this new post holder will bring in together with the preferential policy packages we have. This would allow us to better gauge the effectiveness of the work of the new post holder. Last November, the administration held a large-scale briefing attracting 500 enterprise representatives to participate. How many enterprises actually followed up with the administration after the briefing? If it is effective, will the administration consider holding the same kind of event this year? Administration. In terms of our KPI, the Go Global Task Force was announced in September last year when the Chief Executive delivered the policy address. And in the same policy address, a KPI was announced, that is, within 2 years' time, Invest Hong Kong will have to bring in or help 1,200 enterprises to go global. As we help enterprises go global, we hope enterprises would first come to Hong Kong. We hope that they can leverage the advantages in Hong Kong before they go global. We believe that we will see a relatively more significant increase of mainland enterprises which require our services. So on average, within the 2 years' time, we will help 600 enterprises to go global, bringing in $7 billion of investment money. So we will deploy a lot of staff to carry out this kind of work. As for our briefing event for the mainland enterprises, last year our Shanghai office as well as the TDC worked together to organize certain events. We hope to first help enterprises to establish presence in Hong Kong first if they haven't done so yet. They may establish a regional headquarters in Hong Kong. They can establish, for example, a trading or financial platform here as well before they go global. This year, if we are to meet our KPI, we will have to have mainland enterprises to make use of Hong Kong as the platform for them before they go global. Next, Mr. Kenneth Falk. I think we have to look at the demand. Last year, the Chief Executive led a delegation to the Middle East. I was part of the delegation. I talked to some mainland enterprise representatives, and they value the opportunities brought to them by Hong Kong, so I support this staffing proposal. I have a couple of questions. It shouldn't be Hong Kong that screen the enterprises. It should be instead the mainland authorities that pick the mainland enterprises that would go global. However, according to this paper, in future, Hong Kong will pick the suitable mainland enterprises and help them go global. If that's the case, we'll need staff who are very familiar with the situation in the mainland. They shouldn't just be familiar with Hong Kong. They should speak what we call the same language, and they should be familiar with the culture in the mainland. So this is a non-civil service post where we recruit or hire someone who is not a permanent resident in Hong Kong. I'm not saying that a non-permanent resident only non-permanent residents are suitable for this post. Now, this post will be created for 3 years. And the paper mentions about relationship manager. A potential problem with relationship manager is that we might have different people serving the relationship manager post. Will we hire someone who has already established the business network to fill this post, or I should say, if the post holder has established his or her own business network, will he decide to leave the post after 3 years?
Thank you, Mr. Fogg, for the question. Definitely, this post holder will need to have knowledge on mainland enterprises. This will be a prerequisite, the top prerequisite in this recruitment. Now we can explore the idea of whether this candidate is a permanent resident in Hong Kong. We want to find the most suitable candidate to fill the position. The candidate should also be committed, and there'll be job satisfaction. In terms of the work portfolio of Invest Hong Kong, I'm sure that there will be a great sense of job satisfaction for this post holder, and that it's for a period of 3 years. We don't want the candidate to then move on to other enterprises. Mr. Hong came in. I fully appreciate and acknowledge the work of Invest Hong Kong. Now, I want to cite from the recent budget delivered, and that is within this term of government, the establishment will be reduced by about 10,000 positions. So, why not consider internal deployment for this post in Invest Hong Kong? Although you propose to set up a time-limited non-civil service position for a period of 3 years, there must be candidates available within the civil service. So why not consider internal transfer or deployment? My second point is this. The government has established 17 dedicated teams in 5 mainland offices and 12 overseas ETOs, as well as 17 consultant offices in other locations, as set out in paragraph 3 of your paper. For all these offices, have you drawn up KPIs for our reference so that we can assess their work? My last question is this. Has Invest Hong Kong made good use of the network of Hong Kong enterprises and business associations in the mainland, and also CPPCC members, so as to help promote Hong Kong in the mainland? 3 questions, Secretary. Now, to answer the last question first, Invest Hong Kong collaborates with ETOs, TDCs, and different organizations and units to help mainland enterprises go global. As for other questions, I'll give the floor to the DG. Chair. I want to reiterate and say at the outset that Invest Hong Kong has not created any new posts within this term of government. As for the additional 2 civil service posts, in fact, we joined hands with the CDB, and overall speaking, we reduced the same number of manpower. As for helping mainland enterprises go global, we're expediting our progress. Now, for different countries, we have been able to attract more and more investments and businesses to come. Mainland enterprises, however, has now taken up quite a large share, and that's 53%. As we strive to create a bigger pie, we want to have more manpower to support the work of mainland offices and other ETOs so that we can further tap opportunities and expand our platform to attract mainland enterprises to expand business here and overseas. We do attach importance to mainland enterprises in particular. What about business associations in the mainland or the CPPCC members? We have been liaising very closely with local governments, the Ministry of Commerce, as well as other business associations and chambers of commerce. For example, I attended a ceremony held by an association in the mainland, and will continue to collaborate with the relevant associations and build a bigger circle of friends so as to expand our network. Professor Priscilla Leung. I support this staffing proposal. This does not form part of the civil service establishment. It is a time-limited post of 3 years. But my question is, does it align with the 5-year plan to be drawn up by the Hong Kong government? Or you will review the situation 3 years down the road? My next question is this. According to paragraph 26, you have locally engaged staffing positions and other staff members in our office. Now, I fully appreciate the need to have locally engaged staff positions so that there'll be a greater efficiency. But for this new recruit, I'm sure that this post holder should be familiar with Hong Kong and the mainland as well. Let me give you an example. About 3 years ago, a mainland enterprises specializing in green energy with a market capitalization of 2 billion yuan would like to set up presence in Hong Kong, but things were stuck at the middle rank level. He did not receive a warm response during an interview, and in the end, the management decided to take the business to Guangzhou instead. They have made an announcement about the technology developed. It's about turning waste to energy. Hong Kong could have been the perfect ground for this development. Now, as I understand, we do have a rather rigid civil service culture here, and that the post holder may not be familiar with the mainland culture if they come from the civil service. So this post holder should be familiar with both mainland businesses and the civil service culture. And this person should have expertise in helping businesses go global, because I do have this personal experience. That enterprise, as I mentioned, got stuck in the middle, although it had every intention of using Hong Kong as a springboard to go global. So this post holder has a lot on their plate. You must make sure that this candidate is familiar with the government culture as well as the mainland business culture. Secretary. The comment is noted. In fact, Invest Hong Kong has delivered in attracting mainland enterprises to come to Hong Kong, and now there are over 11,000 mainland enterprises, and that's roughly threefold than before. These enterprises come and set up presence here, and then they go global. They also bring economic benefits to Hong Kong. As mentioned by the member and also Mr. Fogg just now, that this post holder should be familiar with the mainland business culture, as well as our local situation, as well as the government's operations. The work of Invest Hong Kong entails coordination among government bureaus and departments. I can give you this example. We have this French company specializing in taking apart airplanes. So we need the help of not only CDB, but also, say, Development Bureau and the Environment and Ecology Bureau. There should be proper training for our staff. We also have ETOs as well as other units that provide support as one government. As for the reporting line, this Assistant Director General will report to the DG, and then there will be further dialogues with the bureau chiefs as well as the department secretary. I'm sure that with the support of the financial secretary, problems can be solved. We do note members' comment. We'll carefully consider them. Right. Professor Leung, if you have specific details of this case, please do forward them to the secretary. Right. I'm sure that the secretary is committed in removing red tape, and likewise, this candidate should be able to do so. Mr. Alan Chan. Thank you, Chair. I fully appreciate that there is bureaucracy, so we need to bring in some fresh air here. I support the staffing proposal. This post holder should be able to help mainland enterprises go global. Now, my question is whether we should set only a period of 3 years for this position. Because if the contract is only good for 3 years, the best candidates may not want to work here. So your choices will be limited. So why not 5 years instead to tie in with the 5-year plan? My second point is in 2025, Invest Hong Kong took up 560 projects and created 10,700 jobs. These enterprises did so within the first year of their establishment or expansion. They also brought in $120 billion of direct investment. Now, my question is this. Why do you propose to create a non-civil service position? Because there are alternatives. For example, hiring retirees and also internal transfer of staff. But then this will give the public an impression of civil servants helping one another. And we must not give out this perception. So I fully support this non-civil service position, especially when this candidate should possess knowledge about mainland business culture in order to help mainland enterprises go global. My third point is this. 53.2% of enterprises have come from the mainland, followed by US, Singapore, UK, Canada, Japan. These are traditional markets. Now, 50% of enterprises come from the mainland, and we target the Belt and Road countries. Our concern is that if we just maintain ties with Europe and the US, the tide may turn. So my question is, how do you make sure that the candidate recruited will help us tap Belt and Road markets and help mainland enterprises go global? Secretary, to answer the member's question whether it should be a period of 5 years or 3 years, we need to have regard to our budget. So we start with a 3-year contract. We understand that there is a 5-year plan. 3 years down the road, if need be, we can extend this position. We don't rule this out. At this point, we create a time-limited position of 3 years to earn side of caution as for markets. In fact, we do not have strong trading ties with the U.S., and we only have a social relationship with Europe, trading-wise. In fact, our largest trading partner is ASEAN countries, and the second largest trading partner, followed by other RCEP countries such as Australia and New Zealand, Japan and South Korea. They account for 75% of overall trade. But we must not only rely on existing countries, we must continue to tap new markets. We have signed various free trade agreements with Peru, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, and we will be signing investment protection agreements with other markets such as those from Central Asia as well as Africa and Latin America. So these are the emerging markets we have in mind, and that is why the Chief Executive has led delegations to visit 4 countries in the Middle East. We also have plans to visit other countries in Central Asia, Turkey, Egypt, with a view to tapping these markets so that we won't be over-concentrated in some particular markets to avoid geopolitical tensions. We continue to liaise with the Belt and Road countries. We, for example, have a Belt and Road office under the CDB. We also contribute to our country's efforts in developing the Belt and Road Initiative. And in fact, I led delegations to different Belt and Road countries. But the Hong Kong enterprises would like to know more about the Belt and Road Initiative, including enhancing connections on various aspects and building people-to-people bonds. This will be a major aspect of this post holder's duties.
Mr. Peter Xu. I support the staffing proposal. This year marks the inaugural year of the National 15th Five-Year Plan, and we have to ensure dual circulation as well as international circulation in order to be a super connector. I think we have to dovetail with the National 15th Five-Year Plan. So I think the CEDB is making advanced preparation by making the staffing proposal. We hope to be part of the stakeholders that can boost the economy of our country. In fact, this post holder will face a very heavy workload. You said that the post holder will have to be very familiar with the situations both in Hong Kong and the mainland. And this post is pitched at D2. With this remuneration package, are you confident that you'll be able to identify the right candidate? We have many outstanding talents within the civil service, but in order to find someone with a business network, I believe we will be able to find someone outside the civil service. Also, according to the paper, one of the duties of the post holder is to lead delegations to places outside Hong Kong. Well, you said this is part of the usual duties carried out by the government. If the post holder is taking up this task, then what will the person who was responsible for that be doing? Secretary. Well, this post is pitched at D2 level. Will we be able to find the right candidate? We will work very hard on this. I believe that there will be people who are interested in taking up the position apart from the remuneration package. I believe that there are people out there who are looking for a sense of satisfaction, and there are people who love our country and would like to serve our country. As for the question about workload or work distribution, some of the duties will be shared out by other officers. There are lots of work that we have to do in order to attract businesses and investment. So other existing staff will help shoulder the work on attracting businesses and investment. So there won't be the case where existing staff have nothing to do, because it is important that we have to help enterprises to go global in the coming 5 years. That's why last October we set up the Go Global Task Force. In the coming 2 years, we'll have to meet the KPIs in terms of attracting businesses and investment. Page 19.3 of the paper mentions that we'll have to promote products of our country to other places in the world. I think we have to make sure that our standards align with the standards of other places. So one of your key duties will be to come up with the national standards or our own standards. True, the Health Bureau as well as the FEHD are working very hard to establish our own standards on testing and certification. In fact, we have already come up with the GBA standard, and we are working towards this direction so that everyone will comply with the same set of standards. Next, Mr. Jonathan Stewart Lamport. I thank Chairman for allowing me to speak here. The administration proposes the creation of this time-limited post. I support this proposal. Invest Hong Kong face a very heavy workload, so I support this proposal. I have the following questions. As mentioned by other members, this post will be created for 3 years. However, there are people out there who are capable and may want to serve in this post for a longer time. So is it that the administration will consider not cutting this post after the end of the 3-year term in order to retain talent? In the business sector, there are lots of great talents, I believe, that they would want to help. In this paper, there is a lot of mention about helping mainland enterprises go global. In 2026, are there any plans for the Go Global Task Force to lead any delegations to overseas countries? Is there a timetable for your outbound missions so that people in different positions can give full play to their potential? Secretary. We will start with a 3-year term first, and we'll see how things go. We actually have come up with a Go Global Task Force proposal, and we have distributed the proposal to different departments. We are awaiting feedback, and we will announce the relevant details in due course. Next, Dr. Hui Simon Lee. Thank you, Chairman. I have questions in 3 aspects. First, similar to the question asked by Mr. Peter Xu, I'm concerned whether the government will be able to find the right candidate. This is because the candidate will have to meet very high requirements. So that's my first question. Second, again, I have a similar question asked by Mr. Duncan Chu. He focuses on high-tech industry, but I am concerned about emerging industries with strategic importance in order to dovetail with the National 15th Five-Year Plan. So the post holder will have to have the relevant know-how. Third question. We want to bring in enterprises with competitive edges to go global. businesses in Hong Kong join various chambers of commerce in different mainland provinces and cities. I think these can serve as great resources for us to play the role as the super connector to bring together mainland enterprises. I wonder if the administration will establish regular or permanent mechanisms so that we can leverage our business network in the mainland. Secretary, I understand that the member is concerned about the remuneration package for the post holder. Again, we'll have to look at the budget. We welcome startups to come to Hong Kong. We have 5,200 startups that have come to Hong Kong. Invest Hong Kong would like to bring in startups in newly emerged industries because we think that they will benefit our development in the INT. So we will continue to pay attention to the development of these enterprises as to whether there will be a mechanism to facilitate communication among mainland enterprises, be it Invest Hong Kong or our mainland offices. They have been communicating with mainland authorities as well as mainland enterprises to learn about the situations in the mainland. As to whether we will have a permanent mechanism in this regard, we will look into this. We already have this Go Global Task Force. Perhaps the task force will consider whether it is necessary to set up a mechanism so that there could be frequent communication between the administration as well as with, for example, CPPCC members. Now, Mr. Dennis Leung is waiting to speak for the first round, and Professor Priscilla Leung is waiting to speak for the second round. After that, I will conclude this item. Mr. Dennis Leung. This proposal is about creating a time-limited post, and this will be a non-civil service post. I support this staffing proposal. My concern is how the administration will be able to attract more investors to come to Hong Kong and help them go global. In the past, because of the local situation in Hong Kong, a lot of investors choose to go to the mainland to make investments instead of coming to Hong Kong. Through the ITIB, the current term government is trying to promote new industrialization to bring in enterprises. However, the supply or industrial chain in Hong Kong is not very complete. For example, many of products cannot be developed here because of the incomplete industrial chain. So how can the government remove barriers and lift restrictions? For example, can you offer more preferential policy packages? For example, in Sandy Ridge, there is a data center, and the relevant party spent just about $600 million to bid for the land, and the investment involved is just about $20 to $30 billion. How can you lower the threshold so that homegrown startups or tech enterprises can actually come back to Hong Kong to help tell good stories of Hong Kong? Secretary. Yes, our paper did mention about preferential policy packages, and we offer tailor-made services for enterprises. For enterprises that intend to come to Hong Kong, when they reach out to Invest Hong Kong, we, based on the needs of various enterprises, make suggestions to the relevant government bureaus and departments, and we look into how we can support these enterprises. There might not be a consistent set of preferential policies or policy packages. This is because different enterprises have different needs, and we offer tailor-made services and support to them. If the government or the relevant bureau is of the view that the enterprises that intend to come to Hong Kong will benefit the development of the Northern Metropolis or our 5-year plan, then we will consider offering more support to them.
Professor Priscilla Leung, second round. Thank you, Chair. I have one more point to make about this staffing proposal. This post holder will be underpinned by 26 non-directorate staff. I want to make sure that there'll be somebody with legal knowledge to help remove obstacles because I have this experience. I worked with some 50 experts from around the world, especially Belt and Road, and each place has its own legal system and cultural religious background. But then the lingua franca is legal knowledge. You need to find somebody with this expertise so as to get the ball rolling. Otherwise, it will be very difficult if there is no legal knowledge. For example, you need to have model rules. At the country-to-country level, there are model rules available. So since this team will comprise 26 non-directorate staff, please make sure that you have a legal professional included. Right, your comment is noted. Thank you. We'll carefully consider your suggestion. Now, I support the staffing proposal as well. I feel that most members who have spoken are in support of it as well. So if there is no objection, this item will have our endorsement. It will be submitted to the Establishment Subcommittee and Finance Committee for approval. So next item, supporting measures for SMEs as well as enhancement measures under the dedicated fund on branding, upgrading, and domestic sales, and that's called BUD Fund. The Secretariat has proposed to discuss these two items together. Members, please note that this is a funding proposal. Other members of this council have been invited to attend this discussion as well. Members, please note that according to Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedure, if there is direct or indirect pecuniary interest involved, a member must not move any motion in relation to the items being discussed. And the member should also disclose the nature of interest before he speaks. So if there is direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to the item discussed, please declare the nature of the interest first. Right. Let me welcome the administration to our meeting. I suppose Mr. Yao, the secretary, is taking a break. So meanwhile, let me welcome the permanent secretary and her team. When Mr. Yao is back, I will invite the administration to walk us through the paper, and then the floor will be open for questions. Let me read out the names of members who would like to speak. 10 members have signed up, starting with Ray Wong, Jonathan Leung, Sunny Tan, Tommy Jong, Hong Kam In, Jonathan Lampert, Priscilla Leung, Dennis Leung, Alan Chan, and Thomas So. 4 minutes each. Question and answer, please.
Good.
Okay, let me welcome the administration's team. Mr. Aaron Liu, DG of Trade and Industry, and Ms. Winsome Au, Deputy Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development. Ms. Jenny Koo, Deputy Executive Director of Hong Kong TDC, Ms. Cynthia Chin, General Manager of Hong Kong Export Credit Insurance Corporation, Mr. Steve Chet, Deputy DG of TNI, Mr. Terence Chiu, Commissioner of Hong Kong Export Credit Insurance Corporation, as well as Ms. Irene Mok, Vice President of Hong Kong MC Insurance Limited. Right, I see the Secretary is back. Excuse me, I can start now. Now, this is the start of the 15th five-year plan. We need to actively align with the plan and better integrate into and serve our country. SME's development plays a crucial role in the economic development of Hong Kong. The ever-changing external environment and the uncertainties amid the economic transformation have posed challenges to SMEs. Today, we'd like to brief members on various support measures for SMEs. We'll continue to take a multi-pronged approach to implement measures such as financial support, capacity building, publicity promotion, market expansion, so as to promote diversified development, upgrading, and transformation of SMEs, so as to enhance their competitiveness and help them grasp opportunities presented by national development. I would like to highlight a number of points. First, in the 2026-27 budget, the government has proposed the following new measures. A pilot scheme called SME Protect Plus will be launched under by the Hong Kong Credit Export Insurance Corporation (ECIC) to protect SMEs in engaging in high-risk buyers. As for the SME Financing Guarantee Scheme, we have extended the application period for the 80% guarantee product to the end of March 2028 and also extended the application period for the principal moratorium arrangement to mid-November this year. That means there'll be additional commitment provided by the government by $20 billion. On Bud Fund, in the 2025 and policy address and 2026-27 budget, the government has announced that a new round of injection totaling $1.63 billion will be made, together with a series of measures to support SMEs, such as expanding the geographical locations in the subsidy scheme, as well as help organizing exhibitions and fairs, and there will also be an increase in funding ceiling up to $150,000 from $100,000. Will also help SMEs adopt AI. There will be targeted subsidies. Our plan is to submit this proposal to FC for approval in the second quarter of this year with member support. In the same quarter, we will also roll out various enhancement measures, such as the support services offered by the TID department for SMEs, as well as other overseas promotion activities organized by the Hong Kong TDC, and we'll continue to take forward the other support measures, such as the digital transformation support for SMEs to develop e-commerce and go digital, so that they will continue to find new growth points against the complex environment. So much from me. Right, let's start the questions. Mr. Ray Wong. Thank you, Chair. I fully appreciate the support for SMEs. And the government has reacted swiftly to our request. Now, the Bureau has submitted 2 papers, support for SMEs as well as injection into the Bud Fund. I represent the industrial sector. We're in full support of these measures, and there are some pain points such as financing difficulties and escalating risks in the external environment. I have 2 suggestions. First, the funding ceiling should be raised. As the BPA and I have suggested raising the subsidy amount for each enterprise from $1 up to $10 million, and that the funding cap should be raised to $300,000. A dedicated fund should be introduced to provide more subsidies for first-time applicants. As for repeated applicants, we can reduce the matching ratio from 1:3 to 1:2 to screen out zombie enterprises and to ensure optimal use of resources. We can make use of big data to address the issue of fragmented data, and in order to resolve problems in financing and helping enterprises go global. As I understand, we still rely on the traditional rating system, credit rating system. I hope that the ECIC can also go digital so that with collaboration we can make use of big data and build a credit referencing model for cross-boundary businesses. For e-commerce operators with good track records, we can waive the rigid requirement of submission of audit reports, and that we can rely on this data platform. Finally, I hope the government will waive the business registration fees again, so that we can fully feel the support of the government on the business sector. Secretary, thank you, member, for the suggestions. So we want to relax the rules as much as possible, and we will consider your views when time is ripe. And having regard to the actual situation, we will consider whether we can further raise the cap in the applications or change the matching ratio from 1:3 to 1:1 or 1:2. We need to consider very carefully under the current fiscal position as to how much commitment the government can make. We need to be very careful, but we note members' comment. We will conduct a timely review. On a vetting process, I will bring your view back to the ECIC and see if a change can be made to facilitate applicants. Anything to add from the ECIC? The ECIC considers the matter from different perspectives to support SMEs. We also rely heavily on data. Analysis is actually our main line of business. 2 years ago, we made use of big data in collaboration with some fintech companies. In the form of alternative data, we managed to improve the credit referencing system and approved over $2 billion of loans in just 10 months or so. The Financial Secretary has announced a pilot scheme which will be launched soon. This will apply to SME. It's called SME Protect Plus. It's not just about using data. We don't even need to use alternative data. Rather, using a combination of data, we will take a new perspective in assessing credits for SMEs, so that with this three-pronged approach, we'll be able to bring more benefits to SMEs. Announcement will be made in the middle of April. Next, Mr. Jonathan Lau. Various sectors in our economy, including the catering sector, is in great need of support in this era of digitalization and going AI. And we are also short of manpower. We need to go digital, and we need to adopt AI as well. Now, there are various schemes launched by the government to help SMEs undergo reform. However, these SMEs need to engage consultants. Now, the government claims that SMEs can actually go digital themselves without engaging a consultant, but that's not true. It's still very difficult. These support measures benefit the consultants, not the SMEs. I hope that the government can further streamline the application procedures or better elucidate the application process for SMEs. For example, can the government set up a one-stop portal or a hotline to take inquiries from SMEs so that they can upgrade and transform themselves without external help? Thank you, Chair. In fact, we have the 4-in-1 support for SMEs, comprising centers operated by the TDC, PC, and also the Hong Kong Science and Tech Park Corporation. We each have an SME service center. We also provide help through the SME Support Center. We'll continue to mount promotion and publicity, and will strive to streamline application procedures. For example, it now takes just 30 days to process an application, and the funding amount has increased from $100,000 to $150,000. So we do hope that SMEs can make better use of our funds to upgrade and transform themselves.
Any follow-up? No? Next, Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, Chairman. I declare that I am the Chairman of the Productivity Council. We are the Secretariat of the BUD Fund. I'd like to commend the efforts made by ECIC as well as the efforts made by the administration. These support measures for SMEs can help them diversify risks, and so I believe that these measures can help SMEs to make bolder moves, and I therefore thank the administration for supporting the SMEs. As for the injection into the BUD fund, again, I support this proposal. The administration is not at the stage where it faces the healthiest financial condition, but still decides to implement these measures to support SMEs. I'd like to ask about the 3-to-1 ratio. And this ratio makes applicants hesitant. While the government really wants to offer help to SMEs, if SMEs are hesitant about the funding ratio, then I think we are putting the scheme to waste. I understand that the government has to take a prudent approach in managing public funds. So how can we do better? I remember that the Financial Secretary mentioned that some AI plus elements will be incorporated into the BUD fund. How can we drive the development of the BUD fund using AI plus? Can the funding ratio be adjusted to 1-to-2 instead of 1-to-3? I think AI can help SMEs upgrade and transform themselves. Administration, I thank Mr. Sunny Tan for the questions. Last year, we wrote out the enhancement measures because we want to find the most suitable way to manage the fund. On one hand, we have to ensure the sustainability of the fund, and on the other hand, we want to adopt a more focused approach to support our SMEs so that we can expand the coverage of the fund. We have been keeping a close eye to the situation of SMEs, and we've been adopting the 1-to-3 funding ratio. In 2024, we reached a peak in terms of our the number of applications. There were over 7,200 applications per year. When we got to 2025, we saw a slight drop. There were about 5,300 applications. compared to 2023, there was an increase of 13% in terms of the number of applications. So we see that after we've rolled out the enhancement measures, we've seen improvement to the scheme. However, we only rolled out these measures last March, and it has only been about a year, so we need more time to make observations. And in the meantime, it's not that we have stopped our work. For example, we saw that the Easy But scheme has been popular, so we've taken on board the views of LegCo members, and therefore, in the latest budget, we are enhancing the funding ceiling by 15%. From $100,000 to $150,000. So we will make adjustments based on the actual circumstances. Next, Mr. Tommy Chong. I acknowledge the efforts made by the administration to support SMEs over the years. For example, there are PSF as well as SMEF, and it has helped a lot of SMEs to expand into new markets. I hope that there will be continuous support to the SMEs. I hope that this support can be given in a more targeted manner so that SMEs can more efficiently tap into new markets. I'd like to specifically talk about the upfront cost that has to be shouldered by SMEs. Now, with the enhancement measures, will there be a regular survey done by the administration to collect feedback from SMEs? And how will you gauge the effectiveness of the funding dispersed to SMEs? And for markets that are frequently tapped into by SMEs, well, will you offer more support to the relevant SMEs? For example, will you adjust the ratio of the upfront cost that has to be shouldered by SMEs? Secretary, I'd like to defer to my colleague. I thank Mr. Zhong for the questions. In relation to the upfront cost, last year, we conducted a review and we did an in-depth study on the arrangement concerning initial payment. The initial payment was about 75% of the approved grant, and it accounts for a high percentage. Therefore, there were some problematic cases under the scheme. And last year, the Audit Commission reviewed the Bud Fund scheme, and this was touched on by the Audit Commission as well. Therefore, we wrote out improvement measures. So I just want to explain why we have adjusted the initial payment shouldered by the SMEs. And then we saw a significant drop of the number of problematic cases. While the initial payment has been lowered, SMEs, if they can in a responsible manner complete their projects, will definitely pay the remaining funding to the SMEs. Now, concerning the feedback, we have been working closely with the Productivity Council as well as the Secretariat of the Bud Fund, and we definitely carry out surveys after projects are completed. So we have 2 follow-up surveys that we do, and according to our survey, over 98% of the applicant found that the Bud Fund could help them upgrade their brand as well as help them expand their market. So the Bud Fund could also help them increase manpower. So it's been offering support to the SMEs. Next, Mr. Hong Kam In. In Hong Kong, there are over 35 SMEs accounting for 98% of the businesses in Hong Kong. There are measures that support the SMEs in Hong Kong. They thank the government for the support. However, can the approval processes be sped up? And can they get the remaining payment earlier? For example, some applicants applied for the SMEF last May, but they still haven't got the remaining payment. Also, this year marks the 60th anniversary of the ECIC. The ECIC has been offering a lot of support to the export industry in Hong Kong. Now, with the geopolitical tension, I want to know if the ECIC will put in place any measures to lower risks and to protect exporting businesses in Hong Kong. Now, from the policy address announced last year to the budget, which was announced recently, $1.63 billion will be allocated to the BUD fund. Now, the 1-to-3 funding ratio will not be adjusted, but I want to know if there is any room to, for example, adjust the funding ratio to 1-to-2 instead. I think this can be a direction that the government could take. According to the administration paper, there is a consultation on the BUD fund. There are different SMEs in Hong Kong as well as SME associations. Will you expand the coverage or scope of your consultation instead of just consulting two committees that have to do with SMEs in Hong Kong? Secretary, in relation to the funding ratio, actually, Secretary just now has already responded to that. We will continue to assess the situation. Our goal is to ensure the sustainability of the fund and to ensure that we can offer support to the SMEs so that we can cover as many SMEs as possible. So we will keep in view the situation. Just now, Mr. Hong Kam Yin mentioned that we will inject 1.63 billion to the BUD fund. I'd like to add that from 2025 to 26, that is in both the policy address and the budget, it has been announced that we have already injected $1.75 billion. And this year, we will inject a further $1.63 billion into the BUD fund. So from year 2025-26 to 26-27, we are injecting over $3 billion into the BUD fund. In the meantime, we have rolled out a number of enhancement measures. For example, applicant can apply more frequently for the fund, and also the funding ceiling has been increased from $100,000 to $150,000. We also have the e-commerce EC scheme, and the geographical locations has been expanded to 10 ASEAN states under the e-commerce EC. We will continue to keep in view the situation, but we will take note of the suggestions made by the member. We have different channels to consult stakeholders. We are also in close liaison with different chambers of commerce. So please rest assured that if we are to roll out further support measures, we will consult the relevant sectors. Please respond to the questions about the ECIC. We see that there is volatility in the Middle East, and the ECIC wants to make sure that there will continue to be businesses between Hong Kong and the Middle East, so we will continue to offer our services. And for the insurance premium, we are keeping it at the same level. We're not increasing the insurance premium. As for other support measures, last year, when there was the tariff imposed by the US for businesses that do businesses with high-risk buyers, we offered support to them. The measures will be cancelled by June this year, but we are now considering to extend these measures. As for the SME financing guarantee pilot scheme, it covered different types of SMEs and SMEs of different scale. And last week, we announced a reward scheme because we're celebrating the 60th anniversary. we're offering a $6,000 rebate for our clients. For large-scale enterprises, $6,000 is not a lot, but for small policyholders, $6,000 is equivalent to 15% of their protection premium, and about half of our clients will not have to pay their premium. So we hope that this will offer concrete support to SMEs that are facing uncertainties.
Mr. Jonathan Lambert. I thank the administration for submitting this paper in relation to BUD Fund. I acknowledge the support given by the government over the past few years, especially for EMS. The EMF, the application procedures are quite straightforward. They get the support quite quickly, and there'll be a further injection up to $3 billion in 2026-27 to support SMEs in adopting AI and also expanding the scope. I support that as well, but I have a number of points relating to EMF and BUD. There's been a surge of demand in recent years. From 2019 to 2024, the number of applications increased by 87%, with continuous increase in the amounts applied for. This shows the actual promotion activities undertaken by SMEs. As I understand, there'll be a consolidation of the EMF. It will be subsumed under BUD. I hope that, after the 30th of June, to provide one-stop support. Now, it's quite easy for SMEs to apply for EMF so as to take part in exhibitions and conventions. After consolidation, I'd like to know whether the thresholds will be raised. Some SMEs may only have a staff size of 10. They may not have professionals to help fill out forms. So consolidating the fund into BUD Fund may cause extra difficulties for SMEs. I don't have strong views on the consolidation, but I hope that it will be easy for SMEs to apply for help as usual, because the ultimate goal is for SMEs to get hold of the funds to help promote Hong Kong and tell good stories of Hong Kong to their business counterparts. And there are intermediaries involved. Now, if the application procedures are easy, then no intermediaries are required. Some SMEs, however, do not have this knowledge, and they have to rely on intermediaries. Anyway, this is a major fund that can help SMEs upgrade and transform. I hope that the application procedures remain simple and straightforward, so that with this good policy, SMEs can get the fund they need to promote their business. Secretary, we consolidate EMF with BUD Fund because under the current business environment, it is not sufficient just to conduct marketing activities. SMEs must also upgrade and transform themselves in light of changes in the global economic landscape. We encourage enterprises to make use of BUD Fund to improve branding and upgrade themselves and tap markets. We include new geographical locations with a view to driving a change of mindset among SMEs about intermediaries. Our application procedures should not involve intermediaries because the TDC, PC, and Hong Kong Science Tech Park Corporation, as well as TID, operates service centers for SMEs. It's a 4-in-1 approach. We also provide all the information necessary for SMEs to make applications. We have streamlined the procedures as much as possible. If you want to apply for BUD Fund, you can contact either the Hong Kong TDC or the Hong Kong Science and Tech Park Corporation, TID on the Hong Kong Productivity Council. These centers can help SMEs apply for the fund. SMEs may not have sufficient manpower or legal knowledge, and we provide one-to-one service to these applicants. Of course, intermediaries may try to reap a profit in the interim. We advise SMEs not to engage the middleman because we already have an established mechanism to help them. And we also strive to shorten the application time frame as much as possible. It's now down to 30 days. Next, Professor Priscilla Leung. Thank you, Chair. SMEs form the cell of our market. We need to keep the cells active, so to speak. So I definitely support these measures to help SMEs. I support the Bud Fund as well. Now my next question is this. I also considered the government's previous proposals of injection into the Bud Fund. Some cases may involve bad debt, companies winding up, businesses going bankrupt. Do you have the relevant figures? Is it true that these businesses are beyond help? Next question. I see that you want to support businesses with new elements such as low altitude economy, ecotourism. So in assessing the applications, will you accord extra points to these applicants to encourage especially young businessmen to adopt a new mindset? Thank you, Professor Leung, for the questions. We approve up to 5,000 to 7,000 applications per year, so that's quite a big number under Bud Fund. We do have some uncompleted cases that require require a refund of the subsidy. That means bad debts are involved. True. According to our contract, these SMEs are required to pay us back. We follow the established procedures, which means statutory procedures. I do not have concrete figures about bad debt cases. But indeed, in some circumstances, after the business has collapsed, we may not be able to done the debt in full. We've approved applications under the Bud Fund to a tune of some $8 billion. I'd say that the cases involving bad debts constitute only a small number. What about bonus points, such as low altitude economy and other new thinking? Will you expedite these the vetting process? The Bud Fund applies to all SMEs. It's not sector specific. We don't accord extra points to a particular sector or trade. We rely on the market mechanism, and that means, for example, there may be more applications relating to ESG at one point if it gets popular. And in fact, quite recently, we have received more such applications because of the IT projects or AI projects. These are covered by the Bud Fund. The ultimate goal is to help SMEs upgrade and transform and adapt to the overseas marketing strategies. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Chair. I welcome expansion of the BUD Fund to help more SMEs. I also agree with the administration that improvements have been made in light of previous hiccups. For example, the percentage has come down from 75% to 20%, and the ratio has also been reduced from 50 to 25%. Of course, this is the subject of criticisms. Now, my question is this: I've come across some EMF cases. A business partner has folded, and that has led to investment losses. Now, because of insufficient publicity, these SMEs may turn to intermediaries. They want to call the government department to no avail. So they spend $10,000 or $20,000 on intermediaries. The government should step up publicity. In the future, you should advise applicants not to pay the contractor a big sum prematurely, because otherwise, if the contractor's business then collapses, they will suffer big losses. Now, the next point is about AI. If you receive subsidy on adoption of AI through other schemes, you may not be able to apply for BUD Fund. So again, you should enhance publicity, because otherwise SMEs may waste the resources on applying for various funds to no avail. Well, thank you. Mr. Leung's comment is noted. We'll go back and consider carefully how we should step up publicity so that SMEs are well aware of the funds available and that there is no need to engage an intermediary. About AI. Indeed, there are different funds available. The AI element under BUD Fund, however, focuses on helping SMEs upgrade and transform, as well as business promotion. We do illustrate this point with examples. For example, how do you define the use of AI to make sure that there is no conflict? For example, this SME may apply for another sum under the ITI Bureau, and we need to clarify how AI is to be used so as to avoid conflict. Mr. Alan Chan. Thank you, Secretary. Now, I'd like to make a comment, and then I'd like to ask a question. I support continuous injection into the BUD Fund. $1.63 billion should only be a starting point, because we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution that happens once every 70 years. Revolutions are happening around the world to enhance productivity. If not now, then when? Enterprises in Hong Kong have no choice. The government must invest heavily to make sure that these enterprises will not be phased out. So I support the injection. Second point, the Policy Address 2025 proposes to expand the BUD Fund to cover 8 more geographical locations, such as the Middle East and emerging economies. However, in terms of geopolitical risk and the risk of breach of contract, these are high-risk areas. Take Middle East as an example. It's now a war zone. The ECIC will roll out an SME Protect Plus pilot scheme in the third quarter of this year. Will the government consider providing direct subsidy under BUD fund on paying premiums for ECIC protection for emerging markets in particular, so as to allay SMEs' concerns in tapping these markets despite their interest? Mr. Liu. I thank the member for supporting the expansion of BUD Fund to cover 8 more geographical locations, such as the Belt and Road countries, on top of the existing 40 economies. Now, about expanding BUD Fund to cover bad debt cases, I'm afraid that this will be difficult, because the purpose of BUD Fund is to support SMEs in expanding the business. We do not support SMEs with BUD Fund in their day-to-day operations. After all, business risks will have to be assessed and absorbed by the enterprises themselves. Now, in the past, we received general applications under the BUD Fund, and usually these applications entail a large amount, and that is why we have made improvements. Under the new mechanism, within 30 days, funds will be disbursed to provide support. The scheme covers expenses for outbound travels for the purpose of exhibition and marketing and promotion, but it's not our intention to support the daily operation of SMEs. So we need to have in mind the objective of the fund, and that is to support SMEs, and we need to strike a balance against that with proper use of public money.
For export credit premium, could it be incorporated under the subsidy scheme? If it is considered as a day-to-day expenditure, it will not be covered under the fund. Next, Mr. Thomas So. Thank you, Chairman. I support the government's efforts in supporting the SMEs in Hong Kong. Over the past few years, SMEs in Hong Kong faced a very tough environment, and at the same time, they have to achieve digital transformation and upgrading, so I support these measures. I am particularly concerned about SMEs that engage in providing professional services. Paragraph 22 of the paper mentions about TDC's effort. It has been helping mainland enterprises to go global. A number of professional services are mentioned here, including legal services, accounting, financial services, testing and certification, etc. A lot of these professional services are provided by SMEs in Hong Kong. It is mentioned here that these services are required in order to assist mainland enterprises in going global. However, the administration did not mention how SMEs offering these professional services will get support from the government. I want to know if the government has any thoughts in providing support to SMEs in this regard. Now I'd like to turn to the BUD Fund. Again, it is a fund that offers support to SMEs. It helps SMEs in upgrading their brand and expanding their businesses. For SMEs that meet the requirements, can they all apply for the fund? For example, SMEs that offer the professional services I mentioned above, can they apply for the BUD fund? Secretary, under the TDC, there is a professional service platform which covers many professional services offered by enterprises in Hong Kong. If these enterprises can meet the requirements or eligibility criteria for applying the BUD fund, they could make applications. I currently do not have any information or a breakdown showing what kind of businesses that SMEs apply for the BUD fund engage in, but the BUD fund offers support to SMEs from various sectors. We do not rule out any specific type of SMEs as long as they engage in businesses targeting the markets that we list out, regardless of whether they are professional organizations offering relevant services, they could be covered by the BUD fund. As for the breakdown, we'll provide relevant information after the meeting. Next, Mr. Peter Xu. Thank you, Chairman. Over the past 14 years, the CEDB has provided about $300 billion of financial support under the Financing Guarantee Scheme. During COVID, SMEs in Hong Kong faced a lot of challenges and pressure. Without the financial support, they would not be able to exist till now. So the enterprises that are able to keep the hundreds and thousands of staff, they relied on the BUD fund. Some of the guarantee products will expire soon, and over the past year or so, we see a steady growth of the number of applications. If you extend the principal moratorium arrangement, I believe that SMEs in Hong Kong will continue to see a steady and healthy growth in terms of their businesses. Also, if your fiscal position allows, I hope that you'll be able to continue to develop the BUD fund. Of course, you have to take into consideration your financial situation. Now, turning to point 23 about promoting cross-boundary e-commerce businesses. There is currently a retail product list that shows the kinds of products that can be exported to the mainland without any tariff. I hope that you will continue to expand that list. Under the National 15th Five-Year Plan, expanding domestic demands is one of the focuses. So I hope that there could be a platform that allow products from Hong Kong to be exported to the mainland, and I hope the CEDB could offer support in expanding this product list. Secretary, I thank Mr. Peter Xu for the comment. We will review the BUD fund from time to time to see if it requires any adjustment. As for the principal moratorium arrangement, we will reflect your comments to the FS. Now, we attach a lot of importance to e-commerce businesses. Over the past 2 years, we organized the Hong Kong Shopping Festival. We hope to promote homegrown brands to other places. As for the whitelist, we will talk to the TID as well as the CNED to see if we can expand the list of products that can go to the mainland without tariff. Now, Mr. Ray Wong is waiting to speak for the second round. Any other members would like to speak? If not, I will conclude this item after Mr. Ray Wong has spoken. I just have one more point to add. I hope that there could be technical support from the government to prevent any hiccups when businesses try to upgrade themselves leveraging AI. A lot of enterprises may not know how to make use of AI. I hope that there could be a support from the academia as well as the research sector. We need also help from the Productivity Council to offer technical support to businesses. Apart from offering financial support to businesses, you may also want to teach enterprises how to upgrade themselves using AI. I think there could also be a tiered mechanism for some of the funds for SMEs that can dovetail with the National 15 5-year plan, and for businesses that can bring delegation to overseas countries. I think you can offer incentives or rewards to them. Yes, we'll consider these suggestions. Mr. Peter Xu is asking to speak for the second round. I see that there is still time left. I have one more question. Point 25 mentions about GBA standards. In the previous discussion item, I have touched on this for quality products from the country. If they want to be exported to other places, you have to make sure that there is a consistent set of standards. We have the UK standards, the US standards, as well as the European standards. But in Asia, we lack a consistent set of standards. There are many quality products from our country. How can we promote the GBA standards to the entire Asia? This will help products manufactured in our country to go global. To ensure that we can promote the GBA standards, we can leverage the advantages in Hong Kong. We adopt the common law system, and it is close to the system of other places. I hope that we can create a platform in Hong Kong so that we can dovetail our national standards with the standards in other places. While we work to adopt the GBA standards, we should be aware of the fact that we have lots of talents in Hong Kong who can help promote these standards. Secretary. Yes, different bureaus and departments are working to see if it is possible to set up a testing and certification center in Hong Kong. We hope that if this center is set up, it can dovetail with the standards of other economies or countries. And it takes time to promote the GBA standards as well, so we're working on that. We are wrapping up this item. The administration plans to seek approval from the Finance Committee in the second quarter this year to make injection into the bond fund. Do members agree? Yes. Then we endorse this proposal made by the administration. Thank you for attending this discussion item, Secretary. You spent 2 hours on this meeting. Last agenda item, AOB. There being no AOB, meeting adjourned. Thank you.